Hey, everybody. Welcome in from BaltimoreBaseball.com. I'm Steve Cockey, and the first of many videos that we'll be having on the site throughout the season and beyond. So we thank you for joining us here for the inaugural edition of our video series. And as always, we will welcome in our senior writer and author of 100 Things Orioles Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. Get it on Amazon. You can even get it right from our site at BaltimoreBaseball.com. We've got a tab in the upper right corner. Mr. Dan Connolly joins us now. Hey, Dan, how's it going?
Good, Steve. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So, opening day, first of all, did you dry off? Let's start with that.
Well, being in the press box, we don't get too wet, so that's a good thing. We just kind of watch all the rain. We watch all you people down in the bowl get all wet.
Correct.
But it just elongates our day from. I guess we got there about 9:45 in the morning, and I think I called you on my way home or whatever at midnight. So I got home around 12:15 or something of that nature.
Well, I wasn't there quite that long, but I felt like I was there that long, sitting out in the rain in my poncho. So yeah, we got through it. 2 rain delays, of course. The first one, maybe that was the right call, maybe not. It's tough to judge the weather sometimes, but they got the game in, and better yet, they were victorious. Wieters with a walk-off single in the 9th inning to win it for the Birds. So a good start. They always seem to play well on opening day, Dan, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, they won 6 in a row, all 6 under Buck Showalter. His daughter told me that she's worn the same boots to all 6 games.
There you go.
So maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but it is kind of interesting. I mean, Buck, he's obviously a very good manager. He's got some time to prepare. It's like if you watch a college basketball coach who gets a couple extra days to prepare for a team. I think that's part of it. I think that just the atmosphere in Camden Yards. A lot of times they do open up at home. Now I guess it's been every other year for a while since the Nationals have been in town or in Washington. But yeah, they get a chance to kind of embrace the fans, show what they have, new players, and obviously some of the new players did exceptionally well for him yesterday.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, if we're going to start about yesterday, getting into the details a little bit of the victory, I think we have to start with Chris Tillman. Of course, it was only 2 innings before rain delay number 2 came, but struck out 5 of 6. Each of the last 5 batters he faced. His fastball, hitting 95, 96 miles an hour. You heard countless folks from Wieters to opposing manager Paul Molitor saying this is some of the best stuff they've ever seen him carry. Your thoughts, Dan, on Chris Tillman yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say it was the best stuff I've seen him carry because he's been very good at times. And, we've been able to see it kind of elongated, 5 innings, 6 innings, 8 innings, whatever. But for a very short period of time, yeah, it might have been the best stuff he's had. I mean, obviously you want to see what he could have done through a second time through the order and see if he'll be able to carry that, mid-90s fastball. The ball was darting, it was sinking, it was darting. He had it all together. And, he's a guy that I honestly think is going to have a very good year this year. Last year he struggled some. And then I believe that he was hurt, and he just really, he wasn't hurt enough not to pitch, but he wasn't 100%. And he's the kind of guy that is going to just push through it. And I mean, he tried to give his best every time. He certainly was good enough to pitch, but he wasn't really the Chris Tillman we saw in 2014. So I think that this is going to be a pretty good year for him.
For sure. Yeah, he looked good. I think the health thing is important. Like you said, it's probably not something that he talks about, that management will talk about, but he was dinged up a couple of different points last year. And while he did pitch through it, and you have to give him accolades for that, certainly, hopefully, for Orioles fans, he is healthier this year and was certainly off to a good start, albeit for just 2 innings. We'll see how he looks, hopefully, in a full 5, 6, 7 innings next time out.
Yeah, he's like I said, I think that, I mean, he was disappointed. He was hoping that they would have been able to start the game at 3:05, get those couple innings in, and then maybe he could come back after the first rain delay. But when you're sitting 2 like that, I mean, you have to pull him, and it's a shame because he really did want to keep pitching. I think everybody in Camden Yards wanted to see him keep pitching. I mean, 5 consecutive strikeouts, that's pretty impressive.
Really was. Switching to the offense a little bit, patience at the plate. It's been a problem for the Orioles the past couple of years, certainly under the Duquette-Showalter tandem here in each of the last 4. It's been a very aggressive team, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of swinging early in the count, but we didn't necessarily see that entirely yesterday. While they did strike out 10 times, they drew 5 walks as well. 2 walks for for Chris Davis, including that key one in the ninth inning that helped lead to the Wieters walk-off single. So that was really promising. Scope even drew a walk as well. He's a very aggressive hitter. I think he swung at the first pitch in each of the first two at bats. So nice to see him draw a walk. Good patience at the plate, Dan. Do you think this can continue throughout the rest of the season? Can they show a more patient approach at the plate?
It's hard to say because one game drawing 5 walks, that's good. But, I mean, I don't necessarily think that's the way this team is going to be. I mean, it's a bunch of swingers. It's a bunch of aggressive hitters. They really didn't go out and fix that need. They thought they might have done that with Kim. Obviously, we don't know how much he's going to play. Rickard has shown a little bit of that, obviously, but it's very early, and pitchers are going to adjust to him. This is an aggressive swinging team. I mean, you can applaud the 5 walks. You still had 10 strikeouts. You still had guys who are going to, they left 16 men on base. And they scored 3 runs, but they left 16 men on base. So there's going to be some Achilles heel here that we understand. They're aggressive in the strike zone. They're aggressive out of the strike zone. But I think that, it's what a lot of these guys are. And you don't want to really necessarily try and change them because maybe it takes away some of the power, some of, we always harp on swinging that first pitch, but we don't harp on when Adam Jones swings that first pitch and hits it out of the park, or Jonathan Scope does that. So this is the way these players are. And I don't know if you can really teach patience, but it was a nice sign to see them get 5 walks.
Really was. And like you said, there's a trade-off there, the power versus, you got to be aggressive. And if they see a pitch that they think they can drive, they're going to go for it. And Buck Showalter has kind of set that mentality with this team that, hey, if you feel something, go for it. So they're not going to necessarily wait back and look for the walk. Buck has said many times, you've got to, you can't take and then hit. You've got to do the opposite. So home runs, they did not hit any yesterday, but with the weather, they had a couple that certainly could have gone out, and I think would have later on in the summertime. I know Davis's off the bat, it had that sound to it. I thought that one was gone. Jones, I think he thought he may have had his, the one out to right center, and even Scope and Hardy hit a couple of pretty deep fly balls. So the home run power wasn't there yesterday, but Dan, I think had the weather been a little more cooperative like it was earlier in the day, we may have seen a couple balls leave Camden Yards.
Yeah, I think that Camden Yards has a reputation of being a homer park, and it is, but it really is more in the summer months when it's muggy and that ball just flies out. When it's colder, crisper, windier, it doesn't really happen as much. And I mean, Adam Jones made that point yesterday in the post-game interviews. He actually thought Davis's was gone, more so than maybe necessarily his. He really thought Davis had homered. So, and who knows what happened with that J.J. Hardy ball? I mean, that ball was flying around. It looked like it was hitting to a tsunami. So, I mean, that was something. So, these guys are going to hit home runs. There's no question. I was talking to Jonathan Scope before the game, and, I said, you got 7 guys who can hit 25 or more home runs. He goes, 8. Don't forget Hardy. So, I mean, they do. They have 8 guys in that lineup who could potentially hit 20 to 25 home runs or more. So they're going to hit the home runs. I don't think that's going to be a concern.
I do not either. In fact, Fangraphs did a thing a couple of weeks back saying that they actually have a fairly realistic shot at the all-time single-season home run record when you look at bringing in a guy like Alvarez and what he and Trumbo could potentially do in better hitters' parks. You combine that with Davis back, with Jones, the whole rest of the gang should certainly be interesting for sure. Now, Dan, we can't end this thing without talking about Joey Rickard on a couple of different fronts. First of all, 2 hits in his major league debut, including in his first at-bat. I know he had family there, so that's got to be really, really exciting for him. Your initial thoughts on one game of Joey Rickard. We'll start the Joey Rickard conversation there.
2016 AL MVP. I mean, I'm not really sure there's any other thoughts here. People are chanting his name by his third at bat, for gosh sake. That didn't happen for Eddie Murray for a year or two. It was great to see. It was great to see this kid who is, he seems like a really genuine, nice guy. He was just so excited to really even be there. And to get a single in the first at bat, a double in the second at bat, he stretched that double out, and then to have to come up in the third bat and have people chanting his name, that was really cool, and it was really cool to see. So he's a kind of guy that they need because they don't really have much speed. They don't have anybody really up top of the lineup, and eventually, if he keeps hitting and keeps playing that well, I think he will be atop the lineup. Obviously, right now they have Machado there. But if they can take the pressure off him a little bit, Buck said before the game that he had 3 different lineups, and Rickard was leading off in at least one of them. But he decided to go with with Manny 1 and the Jones 2 and Davis 3, get them more at bats, that kind of stuff. So, I think it'll be interesting to see what this guy can do. He's played, just a few games really over Double-A. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. But he obviously has talent. There's no question about that.
Joey Rickard mania in full force already, Dan. And finally, we can't let you go without talking a little more about Rickard and the Twitter war that you got yourself into yesterday. I'm going to pop this up. Here is your tweet. We'll set it up in the top of the 7th. Runner on third. There were actually 2 on and 1 out. A foul ball down the left field line heading toward the stands. Rickard made a nice play. He went into the stands, was able to make the catch. But, of course, the run came in from third very easily on the tag up. And your tweet here, I'll let you take it from here, Dan, and talk about Joey Rickard. And this is what you get for criticizing him, Dan. Like you said, he's MVP in waiting.
Yeah, I criticized the Mike Trout of Baltimore, and I probably shouldn't have. One of the great things about baseball is you can do this, and social media is there, whatever, and everyone's watching, and everyone's opining and commenting, and as he came over for that ball, in my mind, I actually said to the guy next to me, I said, "Don't catch it. Don't catch it. It's going foul." The reason that I thought, and once I put up there, a flood of people started hammering me for it. You got to take the out. There's man on second and third. A single puts the winning run in, and basically would have been the winning run. So, you play for the tie at home. And I get all of that, and I understand that, and that's what Buck Showalter said. Rickard admits that he actually, as he was running over, he almost stopped and allowed it to drop as well. It was in the back of his mind, but he thought be aggressive. When things are in doubt, be aggressive. For me, the thing that was kind of the deciding factor for me and why I said that is because, Kurt Suzuki was at the plate. He's not a particularly good hitter. Brock is on the mound. He's a strikeout guy. He's got him on 2 strikes. Suzuki did not look particularly comfortable in the at-bat. So to me, you can strike out Suzuki, and then you have 2 outs there, and then if there's a fly ball or whatever, you don't score the run. So it didn't really matter in the long run because they tied it, but then the Orioles won in the bottom of the 9th. Buck Showalter's point is we had 3 more chances to be able to stop the tie. So I guess in retrospect, in all of it, I apologize to Joey Rickard that it was not a rookie mistake. It was a rookie mistake on my part, or a veteran mistake on my part, by questioning a split-second decision. But it's the fun of baseball. You have good times with that. You throw things up in the air, and you go back and forth. And that's one of the things that I think is going to be so cool about our site here is that we can go back and forth and kind of debate these things and that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with it. It was opening day. Maybe I'm shaking the rust off, but in retrospect, I shouldn't have said a rookie mistake. It certainly was a split-second decision.
Don't mess with him, Dan. You'll know for next time to not mess with Joey Rickard.
Yeah. I didn't really, like I said, the Mike Trout of Baltimore, I had no idea. But this kid, he seems like he's going to be a great kid, and he's a really good story. And he plays the way that Baltimore wants to see their players play. So this could be a long-time love affair if this kid really is what he's shown so far.
And they could certainly use him with the depth or maybe lack thereof in the outfield. They've had trouble there the past couple of years, and Rickard, whether he's in the leadoff spot in the 9-hole, if he's playing good defense and hitting enough to keep himself in the lineup, would certainly be a welcome sight for sure. Dan, anything else before we let you go?
No, we're going to see Game 2 on Wednesday and see what happens. And, it'll be interesting now because now we're going to, Tillman, like I said, I felt strongly that he's going to have a pretty good year. We can see Gallardo now. You'll see if Ubaldo bounces back. And then, of course, you got Mike Wright. So it's going to be an interesting next week to see exactly how this all shakes out. Chris Tillman could pitch before he was scheduled to now because he only got to go 2 innings. So that's something that Buck Showalter said he was going to be discussing, but he didn't want to mess around with the other guys' schedules too much. So we're going to see what happens here, but it should be fun. And, always starting off 1-0 is better than 0-1. And I guess that's the bottom line.
For sure. Dan Connolly, our senior writer, thanks for joining us. 161 games to go. Orioles in the win column on opening day. For Dan, I'm Steve Cockey for BaltimoreBaseball.com. So long, everybody. Until next time.